this allows the customer to basically do everything. So it's the most flexible product on the market.
Literally, you do pretty much have everything that you need for a whole home energy management system.
So there's a lot of stuff this product can do that no other product can. We've got integrated AI.
2 people in a light vehicle, they can assemble this system from top to bottom.
So one of the many advantages is the cost effectiveness of the solution.
The smarter way to go solar.
Hi everyone, Joe Ordia here for Solar Surge, and today we're coming to you from Intersolar Europe, which is the largest solar conference here in Europe, in Munich, Germany. This afternoon I'm joined by William Hall, who's the Managing Director for Australia and New Zealand for Sigenergy. So William, it's good to meet you. Thanks for taking some time to chat with us.
No problem, mate.
Well, you know, a big reason why we're here at Intersolar Europe is because as the United States solar and storage market is maturing, we know that other international solar and storage equipment providers like Sigenergy are going to be entering the US market, or in your case, have already entered the US market. Now, for those of you who've been following the channel for a while, you know that the PointGuard brand is one of the brands we've been covering over the last year and a half or so. And of course, PointGuard is the US brand for Sigenergy, although in the very near future, Sigenergy is going to be selling under its global brand in the US market as well. But it's all the same company, it's all the same product, and Sigenergy is one of those companies that has had tremendous success in other parts of the world and is now bringing all that capability and experience into the US market. So, William, for those that aren't familiar, let's say, with the Sigenergy brand or what Sigenergy has done internationally, can you please introduce us to what the product has available and what are some of the successes that you've seen in other parts of the world?
Yeah, no problem. So, obviously, looking after Australia, we launched the product over there around 10 months ago. So we had to go through a very lengthy product certification process. So 10 months ago we launched it, and already we've gained #1 market share, majority market share for stackable batteries. Globally, we've got 25% market share, so we're the market leader for stackable energy storage systems. So the growth at which the company is kind of moving forward is just unsurpassed. So this system here is one of 3 products that we've kind of got available. This is the flagship product that we launched originally. It's called SigenStor. All-in-one modular system. We call it the world's first 5-in-1 energy storage system, comprised of 5 components. We've got a hybrid inverter that sits at the top that you can connect your PV into. The module which sits beneath is the world's first bi-directional DC EV charger, which we'll talk about in more detail afterwards. Up to 25 kilowatts, can do vehicle to home, vehicle to grid, and then modular batteries which sit beneath. So maybe a little bit different in the US in regards to sizes and options, but in Australia we can go up to 6 batteries, 48 kilowatt hours. We've got the safest batteries in the industry. So each battery module has got 5 layers of safety protection. So fire suppressant system, temperature sensors, decompression valves. Really gives the customers peace of mind that they've got a really safe system on their house. And modularity, so each of the battery modules, DC to DC optimizers built into them, means you can mix and match old and new batteries. Very easy to retrofit new batteries in the future. Off-grid capable, you can basically parallel multiple systems, so it really does, rather than other products, you've got to use different things for different scenarios. This allows the customer to basically do everything. So it's the most flexible product on the market.
Excellent, excellent. And this is part of the reason why we've reviewed the product so favorably in the past, is literally you do pretty much have everything that you need for a whole home energy management system. You have your solar inverter and battery inverter in one unit here, DC coupled, high efficiency, high voltage, bi-directional EV charger. Now, I believe in the US they have 8 kilowatt hour modules, but I understand that there's a new higher capacity module that may be coming onto the market this year.
Yeah, so we're moving from an 8 to a 10 kilowatt hour module, so bigger battery cells basically, better dollar per kilowatt hour value, so obviously higher capacity at a better price. So, sounds good.
Excellent. Yeah, no, very exciting, very exciting. And folks, I think this is part of the trend that we're seeing overall in the industry now is you're not going to see mix and match components from different manufacturers. You're going to see more of the all-in-one solution where the solar, the battery, the inverter, the load control, the EV charger, the app, all going to be on one software platform, all from a single provider. Now, William, you said earlier you were able to achieve #1 market share in Australia really in less than a year from going to market.
Yes.
Australia is a very developed solar market. In fact, I think Australia has more solar installed per capita than any other country.
Yes.
So to what would you attribute your success going into a very competitive and developed market like Australia? How were you able to go from launch to #1 market share in less than a year?
Yes, so quite a few different ways. So Australia, like you said, very difficult to get products certified. There's lots of legislation and certification that you need to jump through. Really what we needed to do really quick was gain trust of the installers, the distributors. So lots and lots of product training. Every week we were training hundreds and hundreds of installers. We did about 10 factory tours to Shanghai, introduced people to the product. And it was a little bit different for us, so it is a new product, but the people behind Sigenergy, our CEO Tony is responsible for building previously to Sigenergy the world's #1 inverter and battery brand. So we're very, very experienced. So yeah, obviously we had a bit of a head start in that sense. We weren't starting from scratch. But yeah, lots and lots of hard work really, building trust with customers, end user marketing. We've got a fantastic marketing team. But really when you've got so many unique features within the product range, obviously there's a lot to talk about. It does stand out from the competition. So it's just a case of educating people. And we did a pretty good job.
That's great. That's great. Now, I actually did have a chance to meet Tony and visit the headquarters there at Shanghai just in the past, maybe about 50 days ago. And I got to tour the production facility as well to see how the battery modules are assembled into the battery packs and all of that. But it's not just Australia. My understanding is that Sigenergy has #1 market share in Ireland, in Sweden, and #3 market share here in Germany as well as the UK. So clearly the product itself seems to be building a reputation for itself as this is a solid, dependable, major contender in the ESS space.
And I think part of that is, there's a lot of products out there. A lot of the main brands, all the installers are, they're kind of selling the same thing, and those products have similar features. So what we've done with it, introducing Sigenergy, it gives the installer a point of difference. So there's a lot of stuff this product can do that no other product can. We've got integrated AI, all of the latest releases. We've got new software updates coming out this month, which basically allows us to do so much more than everyone else. Yes, we do make inverters and batteries, but really we're a software company. The software platform that we've got allows us to do a lot more with the product range. So obviously installers and customers are able to get something that no other product can do.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad you touched on that because that's really what these solutions are becoming. Is not just battery storage and solar. It's sort of a whole home energy management operating system where you've got solar, you've got storage, you've got EV charging, you've got load control. And of course, that EV charging might be bidirectional. Sometimes you might be charging the vehicle with solar. Other times you might be pulling from the vehicle to help support the grid. Which actually brings me to another point I wanted to mention, which is virtual power plants. We're seeing these virtual power plant programs. We know they're becoming more popular here in Europe. We're starting to see them in America now in states like California, Massachusetts, Utah. So tell us, how does the Sigenergy software and the BESS solution work in a virtual power plant type of application?
So having the integrated AI capabilities essentially allows the customer's system to look ahead into the future. It can see what the weather's going to be like, it can see what the spot prices are, and it can automate the system to charge and discharge at times where the customer's essentially going to be able to get an ongoing revenue stream, reduce their return on investment. So again, it comes down to the software. We can do it natively through our own products, but globally we have integrated with many different VPP providers, and that just gives customers that additional revenue. So again, that's really giving customers more use cases and more capabilities through the product.
Great, great. Well, I know I'm personally very excited to see as this technology is reaching maturity and it's coming more mainstream. I've been doing solar and batteries for over 12 years, and in the US at least, it was a very small niche community that was doing off-grid or solar and battery-based systems. Now we're seeing this whole idea of having a whole home, smart home solar storage energy management system becoming more of a mainstream reality.
Yeah.
Now, as far as things go in the US market, as I said, PointGuard is going to be transitioning to the Sigenergy brand in the US market. So it's not going to be any more of this PointGuard powered by Sigenergy. It's just the Sigenergy battery. And as we've touched on, the Sigenergy battery has achieved #1 market share position in a number of the most competitive solar markets around the country, including #3 position where we are in Germany right now. So William, what kind of volume is Sigenergy doing now globally?
Look, it really does change on a monthly basis because the growth at which we're going is exponential, but around 20,000 units per month. We are about to have our new production facilities come online, which is going to dramatically increase our volume, particularly important for me in Australia. We've just introduced a federal battery rebate, which the uptake is massively increased. So not just with the supply, but with the product development, we're very proactive. We need to make sure that we're always prepared for these new market developments.
Great, great. And hopefully we'll see more of these rebate programs in the US as well. I know things can be volatile in terms of how this policy goes, but I think one thing that we can see overall is that because one-for-one net metering tariffs are going away, or what you might call an export tariff here, since a lot of those programs are going away in the US, pretty much the majority of folks that are going to be looking to install new solar, particularly in places like California, they're going to be installing storage with the solar. So they're going to be looking at some sort of a storage solution.
Yeah.
Which actually leads me to my next question is, compared to some of the other products that are on the market, how does your system compare in terms of dollar per kilowatt hour installed cost?
So one of the advantages, or one of the many advantages, is the cost effectiveness of the solution. So, the energy density of the batteries is much higher than most of the competitors. So that means the dollar per kilowatt hour is very competitive and quite, in most cases, lower. And obviously when you factor in the value of that, because we've got all those additional benefits and features through the product, it's one of the reasons why customers are so appealed to come and install Sigenergy.
Great. Yeah, and I guess the one nice thing about it is, you buy the inverter once. And by the way, in terms of capacity for the US version, we're looking at 11.5 kilowatts max continuous output. So for you electricians out there, basically you can install it on a 60 amp circuit and still be code compliant. But once you've purchased that inverter or that control unit, then adding on storage incrementally, I would imagine, would be much less expensive on a dollar per kilowatt hour basis.
It is, yeah, and the installation component is pretty simple. Compared to other products, this is modular. It's like a big Lego set. There's no external field connections. It really is plug and play. So having the batteries individually optimized, or DC to DC converter built in, it is very easy to mix and match all the new batteries, add more batteries in the future, a lot easier than a lot of other systems on the market that have one optimizer, all the batteries connect into that, so a lot more flexible.
Great, great. Yeah, and William, that's one of the nice things that I like as a former installer about the modular stackable architecture is that basically the entire installation can be done with 2 technicians without any special lift equipment.
Correct.
So in terms of planning the logistics of the install, the logistics of the warehouse, you don't have to worry about deploying specialized equipment, right? You basically send 2 people in a light vehicle. They can assemble this system from top to bottom. And like you said, there's no special interconnections. Everything just fits on top of each other. So all this goes to just a more streamlined installation with less time on the job site per install. So William, is there anything else that the audience should know about Sigenergy or about the SigenStor product in particular?
Look, I think we've covered everything for SigenStor. The modularity and the ability to build up bigger systems is very appealing. We do have new products that you might want to have a look at. But yeah, we're constantly evolving, trying to keep ahead of all the competition. And I think we've covered most of the stuff.
That's great. Well, again, folks, this has been a chat with William Hall. He's the Managing Director for Australia and New Zealand for Sigenergy. William, thanks for taking time to chat with us.
No problem, mate. Good to be here.
And by the way, folks, I know you have been asking for us to review the Sigenergy product. Again, Sigenergy was first introduced to the US market under the PointGuard brand. It's all going to the Sigenergy brand as of July or so of this year. So this is the product. It's available now in the US as PointGuard powered by Sigenergy. By middle of this year, will just be Sigenergy. And are you going to be keeping that, is it SigenStor, how you pronounce it? SigenStor?
SigenStor.
SigenStor.
Yeah.
And will that be the US brand name as well?
Yeah.
Cool.
I think so.
Cool. By the way, folks, we're going to have many more videos about Sigenergy and their product line coming out this year. So be sure to tune back into the channel. We'll make sure that we keep you up to date with all the latest product releases in development. But that pretty much does it for today's video. As always, I thank you for spending some more time on the channel. And I'm Joe Ordia here, encouraging you to get prepared and be empowered. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.